Justin Freakin is a formidable voice in the culture.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
We'll see who counts the food.
Come on, man.
This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Wednesday. And we're on a little early. I thought about it. Almost did it, and I was like, no, it's just going to be Trump doing the same old shit, right? I thought about doing the Trump Q&A from the National Association of Black Journalists conference earlier today. We totally should have, because it was batshit crazy. We're probably going to watch it here in just a minute. Socialist Dawn, good evening. DJ Dub, Warlord, good evening. Vice President Kamala Harris holding a rally in Houston She has not yet spoke. The rally not yet getting going. It's still kind of dark in the venue. Fuzzy Face, good evening. Trump has already taken the stage about 20 minutes ago, maybe a little less, 15 minutes ago, at his rally in Pennsylvania. He is outside of Philadelphia, I believe. I could be wrong, though. That could be Harris is going to be campaigning outside of Philadelphia next week. We are supposedly getting a vice presidential candidate pick by Monday. So could be this weekend, could be Monday. Zon, good evening. Welcome. I've got Trump ready to go. I think it's going to be, well, right now they're saying it's Shapiro. It's going to be Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania. I think that might be a fake out. Apparently he's really cozy with the Wall Street types. So she's campaigning with him this weekend. And he's been coming out and being a surrogate for her. But I think that could be a fake out, and the pick could be Waltz or the governor of Minnesota, or it could be Beshear, the governor of Kentucky. I think I think the front runner is Shapiro, unfortunately. They're apparently leaning highly towards him because they feel like they absolutely have to win Pennsylvania, and he's incredibly popular. So, but I'm hoping it's a fake out and they pick Andy Beshear. I think that's the right choice. My personal politics probably align more with Tim Walz from Minnesota. I think Beshear is the right pick just because young Southern man, the accent and everything. He is going to play well in Pennsylvania. He's going to play well in Ohio. So he can go and campaign for Sherrod Brown for that Senate seat. And it would be effective. Here is your meme of the day. Got radicalized into right-wing politics by this guy, then weird. It's actually one of the nicer things we could call you. I just now am looking at this picture, and that's a lot of A1 sauce. Violet, good evening. The man really likes A1 sauce. Now, my response to that would be, as Asmongold Sparkles, good evening. If you are eating good steak, you don't need A1 sauce. If you are eating, it's not a bad sauce. You know what I would put A1 sauce on? If I made like a skirt steak and shredded it, marinated it, shredded it, and put it on a sub, I'd put A1 sauce. A1 sauce on fries is excellent. If you make a steak right, you don't need a steak sauce. Just my personal opinion. We're already talking about food. What's this fucker talking about?
Because they want to raise your taxes by 5 times. Oh, please vote for me. I'm going to raise your taxes 5 times higher.
This is an aggressively Amish man.
Okay, climate change.
Right over Trump's right shoulder.
She supports ending cash bail to immediately release criminals upon arrest.
Aggressively Amish.
No bail, don't worry about it. No cash. You just killed 3 people. No, let's let them out in Harrisburg. It's a wonderful place. And in 2020, she personally urged her followers.
Bunch of stoners. What in the fuck would make you say that?
Get them right out of jail, including murderers. You know what that was all about, right? In Minnesota, which I think we have a good chance of winning. Hasn't been won since 1972 by a Republican. And we're leading. Tom Emmer's going to bring that one home, they tell me. He's going to bring it home.
We're just crazy men and
People are going to reject Kamala Harris's dangerous liberal extremism in a massive landslide. We're going to, too big to rig, right? Too big to rig. Too big to rig.
Listen, the Mennonites had this store. It was about an hour away from where I live, but I had a girlfriend that lived over there.
That's what they want to do. They want to destroy.
Oh, Violet. A Mennonite is it an off? Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. It's an offshoot of an Amish, but like they accept electricity, so they'll listen to radios and they'll have like lights. And a truly Amish person is like candles and shit. But you can get a Mennonite and they're living like it's 1940. I think they might even watch a little TV. So the dude, see, he's on a phone. So he's probably a Mennonite and not an Amish person, because he is literally texting someone behind Mr. Trump here. Benoit. Your YouTube got deleted? No fucking way. But yeah, since he's on a cell phone, I would say that he is a Mennonite. Vinny Linguini. Lamborghini.
Was one of the greats. You know, Chicago.
Welcome in, my friend.
Had 117 shootings and 17 people died. Think of it. This is not even believable. When you hear about Afghanistan and the horrible job that this president did with Afghanistan, a low point, but they don't have anything like that. In one of the most astoundingly phony moments in her.
So this is live, currently from Pennsylvania. But I think I'm going to yank this.
Any day of the week. I
believe Harris is going to be speaking at the top of the hour. I've got Harris on over here. I'll see when she comes out.
Anywhere. Well, Kamala, let's go. Challenge accepted. Are you ready?
Oh.
Let's compare our record point by point.
Ducky, good evening. Apparently, we just got news. We just got Trump accepting the debate. So is it still, what is it, September 18th? Kanye, good evening.
I can't believe I'm doing it. You know, the weird thing. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Biden. I didn't even know her name. Nobody did. Kamala, hello.
You donated to her campaign.
I didn't even know her name. Kamala. I heard she was a rotten border czar. That's about all I knew about her.
Didn't know her name, and he donated to her.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, it was all about Biden. Then I kept hearing they were going to steal it from him, and I said, you know, it's hard to do.
And it was like her Senate campaign in 2018.
14 million votes. Said,
it wasn't like, you know, a local state race when he wasn't in politics.
You know,
why was he donating to Kamala Harris in 2018?
No, he just won. He had all the votes. And he could have said no, but he was afraid. And he's an angry man right now. Here's the big question I have. Will he be invited?
Ducky, we just had this conversation. He's on a cell phone, so I believe that would make him a Mennonite.
Now we will, because I'm mentioning it. If I didn't mention it, he would not be invited. But now they have to invite him.
And he's giving a thumbs up, too.
Crazy, the craziest thing? So you don't mind if I go off teleprompter all the time? It's such a shame. I have these great speechwriters. They really are. Ross and Vince, they're great. They're the best speechwriters.
Ross and Vince.
You know, I hardly speak about this, but I could read the most gorgeous speech.
So yeah, this isn't what I'm interested in watching right now. I am going to keep it up. I'm going to put it over here on my other screen. So I have Harris over here. I've got Trump live over here. So if anything happens, if somebody tries to take a pot shot at him again, I'm going to see it. We're going to know what's going on. But what we're going to watch is earlier today from Chicago, the National Association of Black Journalists conference, where they invited Trump. And I thought about going live with this earlier today. And I was like, nah, it's just going to be the same Trump bullshit. No, I should have gone live with it. Fuck it, we're going to watch it now.
Mr. President, we
what was that music they were playing for him?
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have
hell yeah.
Animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question,
goddamn,
now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question.
Oh my God.
Hey, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC?
Tim Lord, good evening.
A fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit.
Mitochondria.
Population of this country.
Wow.
I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further.
Minty.
I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me.
Did you hear the crowd groaned and corrected the way he said Kamala?
The false pretense. And then gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said you can't do it with Zoom.
Yeah, this is a whole debacle.
You know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
President,
wrong.
I would like
No, he was stalling.
Nasty question. I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then
yeah, he was disputing a real-time fact check.
Your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
Diversity, equity, inclusion.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
the definition.
And would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants.
She happened to turn black.
I don't know. Is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe
I
that
think
she is
somebody should look.
Cragwitz, good evening.
Continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you
interview.
told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion.
Wait.
I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost.
Like, please give me a friendly question.
And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we were divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
Wait.
President,
They're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're
Fucking wow.
Countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts. And this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit,
yeah, that's a big issue,
is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this
fucking wow.
right equipment. but it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much or more.
So what do you do?
Than any
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, you know, let's keep going, and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing well. You say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him, and now we have to steer it toward him. But ultimately, it's
Biden tagged out.
Bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders.
Tagged in Sugar Bear Harris.
They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying.
They don't add the really bad numbers
In our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question
Yes.
that is also impacting black
And that's very clear, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive...
He has been charged.
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
You
an
go
innocent
after
mistake?
somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And you know, they have, the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a, life and death decision. And sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about
This man is a blithering idiot.
prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't because he wasn't president at the time.
Zuck and Elon agreed to fight, but then Elon backed out. Zuck is still down for it. Now, fucking Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has challenged Elon to a fight. Elon has accepted, but it ain't gonna happen.
And he had 50 years worth of documents, and they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent, and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC getting any publicity on it, George.
We cover you
George
extensively, sir. I'd
Slopodopoulos.
love to move over on to
I
different
didn't
topics
notice you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I have a hostile judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking
Excuse
about
me.
families here.
And
He also
some of
says that
those
people that don't have children should get less votes than
That's
those
all
that
right.
do.
Many
For myself,
fantastic
I think
people.
I'm speaking for him too. He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family.
How can someone who's been married 3 times say the right
In
person?
many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of
They took her jeeps.
I felt like that Vice President question
Got a comment. You're right on time. I was early.
So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance?
Why
did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing, too.
I chose
know
him
everybody out there can, but it's hard
I'll tell
to
you
hear.
why.
This train wreck of an interview, Scott comment.
Very strong believer in work.
We are about halfway through the interview that Trump gave at the National Association of Black Journalists Forum in Chicago earlier today. It has been contentious as fuck. Bagheera seems to think that this reporter for ABC is not being objective. But what Bagheera is failing to realize is that she absolutely is being objective. Your idea of being objective is sucking ass. And what Harris Faulkner is doing is sucking up to Trump. That's not being an objective journalist. And if you think Trump came out on top of this interview, you're an absolute moron. He looked horrible. Seriously, like, you guys don't realize how stupid you are. I'm not sure you're not just a troll, Bagheera. I don't know if anybody could hang out and watch this show this much. I think you're just trying to get me riled up. You can't really be that stupid.
Mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time.
We've got Trump over on, this is live from Pennsylvania.
Our border czar, Harris, shot a female police officer in Texas. You read about it. Multiple times with a rifle. Thankfully, the officer is perhaps
this Mennonite guy back here.
Probably. But most victims are...
There's always a weirdo in chat, Scott Comment. It has been very lively in chat the last few nights. I'm glad to be back. Tadpole, good evening. We are also awaiting a Vice President Kamala Harris campaign event from Houston.
That have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that Vice President question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance?
Just putting it lightly.
Why did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing, too. I know everybody out there can, but it's hard to hear.
I'll tell you why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman.
What does this motherfucker know about the working man?
Many of them in this room.
Holiday.
Those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy. Without the benefit
of thanks a lot, Ron Howard.
Has contacts like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a difficult family situation, very difficult, with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the Law Journal. I mean, that's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for 4 years. got out, went into business, became successful.
My God,
in business,
Minty.
very successful in business, actually.
He made a couch joke tonight.
And I
Anonymously.
believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family, but he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United
Politically.
and so Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that...
I cannot understand. Your microphone
I know,
is so
it is really hard for me to understand you, too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
I'm happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
Really happy to hear
understand,
that.
Harris.
I have a few more questions.
Because of the distance, and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic.
Yes, Harris Faulkner is incredibly weird.
Choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring. You know, you choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D. Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have days where there's a lot of commotion.
Listen. He just there's the bus. Hey, JD. Whoop. Vice President does not matter. Torchy, good evening. Welcome in. Snicks, good evening. There was no issue with the audio. He's been blaming their equipment, but it was totally him. He didn't want to be fact-checked in real time.
To who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons of what we're talking about. Not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been. But you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance.
We do not like you.
J.D. Vance?
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think...
Oh!
I mean, my
But
point
at
is
least
here.
it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the party...
Good response from Trump.
...getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
I don't think... Look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing they're allowing
freedom,
the death of a baby after the baby is born, based on the governor of Virginia. Based on the governor of Virginia, they're allowing the death of the
not true.
After it's born, they're allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well, Democrats have denied.
I think they're right. And I think the Republican Party is actually much lesser. I think I've made them less radical, perhaps, but the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted abortion.
All the way up to toddlers.
They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it, everybody.
But the
wanted
majority
it
of
back.
Americans oppose
Excuse
Roe
me.
v. Wade being overturned.
They
Multiple
don't know
polls have
about
showed that,
this.
sir.
Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you
No, they don't.
right now, they're doing, it's an amazing thing. Out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting. And it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting. And it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Most people believe in the 3 exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby.
Can I?
No!
Horrible position. And some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to
You gotta put the baby in the blender.
about, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time. But if you win, you'll still be president at 82, which is older than Biden is right now.
But not mentally. Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He's shot. But most people.
Would you consider?
Most people. I know many people in their 80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history.
Bernie's still with it.
Some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would make,
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She
Sir,
didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your
answer the
statement, sir,
question.
actually.
You said you would. You would
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If I
to step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way,
That's what.
I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well,
I took 2 of them.
Man, woman, person.
I would like to have people running for president, and I don't mean because they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened
Constitutional
in the
cognitive
last
test.
couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in. We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
By whom?
Would you consider taking the cognitive test?
Mr. President.
I would love to
And
do
make
it
it public.
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr.
I
President, how do you intend to...
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now,
And then you go play golf.
her too. I would do it with her also. You know what?
I'd still like to see that golf match.
She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President.
Are you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the fact.
to be clear, you don't think Harris
How do you intend,
She
and
didn't
look,
pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would.
What?
And she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it. I
She
guess
did pass it.
There's a
She
man
did-
over
she
here.
did
I
in
think
fact
he
pass
must
it.
work.
As if this asshole could pass the bar.
6.
Shelley, good evening.
You called yourself the candidate of law and order. When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning...
A lot of people don't pass their first time.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones, at least one officer lost an eye, one had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs, another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day, like about 5 days ago.
What?
We had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually...
Yeah, boy! What's going on, friend?
Will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to
my
the
question
people
is
that
on
tried
those
to
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You
If
would
they're
pardon
innocent,
those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just they were convicted by a very tough system. They were. How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis? How come the people that took over a large percentage of Seattle?
For the millionth time, I can show you the right-wing group that was prosecuted for burning down the Minneapolis Police Department. It was the Boogaloo Boys. They are currently serving time. Jesus Christ.
How come nothing happened to them? How come the people
But sir, we're talking about people that were seen beating officers with flagpoles, dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that video, sir?
Oh, really? Well, they
you would
shot.
pardon those. You would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting. They shot her in the face.
It was like feet away from Congress people.
People died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in Minneapolis. Do you know people died in Minneapolis? And nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people. But you went after...
You're wrong on so many levels, you dipshit.
And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect in life, but you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying, desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent.
I think you're freaky and I like you a lot.
And we're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated. But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political...
Well, it depends on like what 100 people. Is it like 100 handicapped people? Is it 100 toddlers? I think I could take 100 toddlers. More than 100, I don't know. Because I'm thinking like, I've had this like discussion with people before. Like you just start like fucking kicking them, right? You kick the fucking toddlers. I feel like I've got good leg strength. I feel like I could take some fucking toddlers' heads off. Yes. You kick the toddlers. The toddlers are body.
Opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your
helicoptered around?
I close the border, and I do two things because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming. We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. We want people. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be.
You gotta take STD tests.
So when you say, what do I do?
No more herpes.
Drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down so people can buy bacon again, so people can buy a ham sandwich.
I bought bacon the other day, goddammit.
Go to a restaurant and afford it. because right now people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed.
Nobody is mandating that.
He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But I'm against everybody having an electric car. Okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But, you know, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil, under
Texas tea.
Country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country. I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people are taking your jobs.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much.
Here's Faulkner was going to ask about Project 2025.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great
Thank
honor.
you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
NEBJ will email about details regarding a conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris in September. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I like sweet and spicy crude. Oh shit, it got Milli Vanilli'd. Doing the remix. I can't imagine they scheduled him for more than a half hour. He was a half hour late. All right, we are currently awaiting Vice President Kamala Harris, who will be speaking in Houston. I am going to hit the commercial break for you guys on Twitch, and when you come back from commercial, we're going to be at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Go ahead, we'll take the Trump rally for you guys.
Get up here.
Get up here.
that him?
I need to pack another one.
Wow.
He was indeed late. He was 30 minutes late.
Well, you're-
He was arguing about
With me anytime.
a live fact check. He said they were having equipment issues.
That's great. That was a hell of a day, huh? But
People
there
who
were
put
numbers
on
back
the
there. They were
event
brave.
said there were no equipment
Nobody
issues.
that fled. I think nobody fled, right? They were
So
brave
Bagheera,
people, and they were
he's just
looking,
lying.
They were pointing. They saw it. They were pointing. It was incredible. And one of these crowd control people that came in afterwards said they've never seen it where bullets are fired. And I'll tell you something. David was standing and sitting right, literally, the bullets were going over your head. They were going
I don't know why you want to suck this dude's ass so bad. He's such a fucking moron.
flincher either, were you? You weren't. And Corey, right alongside of you, right behind him. And you got to vote for this man. He's a hero, and he's a great gentleman. He'll be.
So it was supposed to be an hour.
And it's time for a change.
I would have watched an hour of that. I would have enjoyed that.
A vote for Dave McCormick is a vote to seal our border, stop migrant crime, defeat inflation, bring down prices, and defend
Literally an idiot.
energy. You have to defend your energy. They will not allow fracking. If they got in, her first move will be to end fracking all throughout the United States. Dave is running.
That's something you can frack.
Not a good member. I don't like to be disrespectful. He's been there a long time, but Bob Casey is a stiff. He's a stiff. Nobody knows who the hell he is. I don't think I've ever gone.
The king of morons.
Mike has been in the meeting. Dan has been in the meeting. Scott has too many meetings, right? No.
Remember that time I called into C-SPAN and they asked me about fracking?
A meeting where Casey's even been there, and I've been to.
It was after the first Biden-Trump debate in 2020.
Sort of goes along year
And they asked me about fracking.
there. We want to have a great warrior. Dave, good luck. Good luck.
And I said, I want to talk about health care.
We're pleased to be joined today by some really fantastic people, some
We're in the middle of a pandemic.
warriors.
We've got a fascist running for office. I think fucking Ginsburg had just died.
Mike Kelly.
That might have happened after the first debate. I don't remember. If you guys don't remember, 2020 was insane, and we're on pace to be like even far more insane than 2020.
Warriors, these are great fighters, and if you can add David, it's going to be an unbeatable
We've
competition.
had an assassination attempt,
You treasure, thank you very much.
and a candidate stepped down.
Great job. Pennsylvania treasure.
It's not even August yet.
Lancaster County Commissioner Josh Parsons. Great job, Josh. Jim Worthington, who's a fantastic man. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Nice to see you. And two people that are amazing, very talented, very incredible people. One is a spokesman for the lawyer, by the way, but a great spokesman.
Unfortunately, politics has not been boring in my lifetime.
But truly committed to make America great, which is more important than me. More important. I mean, it's just something special.
It has gotten more and more insane.
Person going around and letting people know how important our country is, how we love our country. Alina Habba. Alina, stand up, Alina.
That's not even how you say your name, is it? I thought it was Alana.
And another person, one of the most talented writers.
She's going to be like Secretary of Education.
Truly has the pulse.
Selena? Okay, I've been saying it wrong then.
The
Well, I mean, that's not really a shocker now, is it?
Nobody covers it better. Selena Zito. Selena,
What vaccine passport, you stupid fuck?
Thank you. She's a great.
Locking everyone in their homes up under false pretense.
joined by
What the fuck are you talking about? You live in a fantasy world. You let right-wing fucking grifters on YouTube.
Done to her family. It's destroyed her family. Tiffany, please come up. Please.
Fearmonger to you and tell you the dumbest fucking shit. There was never even a lockdown.
It's happening all over America because of inflation, by the way. Thanks, Dick.
All right, fuck this. Let's go to where the action is, where the enthusiasm is.
Good to be with all the leaders who are here. I want to thank the International President, Rashida S. Liberty. I thank you for your friendship and your leadership and for the warm welcome this evening. Thank you so very much. And to the International Board of Directors, to the Council of Presidents of the National Pan-Hellenic Council, and to Congresswoman Robin Kelly, it is my...
Tad, good evening.
It is my great honor to be with everyone this evening. And please have a seat. I thought everyone was standing. If you have a seat, please have a seat. Thank you all. And to all the members of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. It is so good to be with you this evening, and I say that as a proud member of the Divine Nine. And when I look out at everyone here, I see family. And you know, we share a vision for the future of our nation. Ours is a vision of a future in which we realize the promise of America.
That we are not confined
give us empirical evidence of the promise of America.
by all that has been.
Of freedom, opportunity, and justice, not for some, but for all. Since 1922, the members of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated have helped realize that promise. Generation after generation, the members of this sorority have shown that greater service brings greater progress. I know. In the 1920s and 30s, you created college scholarships for young black women. In the 1960s and 70s, you launched a nationwide program to help folks get a job. In the 1990s, you formed a partnership with St. Jude to fight childhood cancer. And in 2020, you continued your leadership when, during the height of a pandemic, you helped elect Joe Biden President of the United States.
Bagheera, my
He,
man.
as the first woman vice
Repeat
president
the
of
same
United
thing
States.
over and over again. Have you ever listened to Trump? Listen to Trump talk. He's probably talking about Hannibal Lecter right now, motherfucker.
Service to
of 100 or 200%.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
It's an eye for an eye. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, and it's we win the presidency, I mean that.
Look at the difference in these
Between
two.
Russia and Ukraine settled, and I am the only one that can say it. I know all the players, and they respect us, they respect me, and they used to respect our country, but no longer. I will prevent World War III. That's where we're heading. We're heading to World War III.
Narcissistic asshole. Talking about the retribution he's going to take on people versus, you know, a positive figure that laughs.
for a future with equal pay for women. Because we know when we lift up the economic status of women, we lift up the economic status of children, of families, and all of society benefits.
Talking about what we can do for people.
We here work for a future where every
Pee on phoneme.
not just to get by, but to get ahead.
Who is phoneme? I don't know if I want to pee on them, but I definitely want to pee in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole.
Generational wealth. We here see a future where we bring down the cost of
Give me that eye pussy, Congressman.
which is why we are fighting to ban more of those hidden fees and surprise late charges that banks and other companies use to pad their profits.
Big fan of that proposal.
To take on corporate landlords and cap rent increases, and take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. All of this to say, we are working to build up,
Oculusy. Oh my God, Ducky.
and to build up America's families and America's middle class.
Bravo.
No, when our middle class is strong, America is strong. But as we work to move our nation forward, let us be clear, there are those who are trying to take us backward. You may have seen their agenda. They call it Project 2025. Right. And it is a 900-page agenda of extremism. Project 2025 would raise taxes on middle-class families and cut taxes for billionaires. Eliminate the Department of Education.
Well, Fuzzy Face, I wouldn't wait for her to stop funding the genocide.
Which, of course,
but she'll at least take a softer tone on it.
Hundreds of thousands of our children. All
Hopefully put a little more pressure at least.
did in his first term. When he was president, he gave tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He tried to cut Social Security and Medicare every single year. And he and his allies have tried more than 60 times to end the Affordable Care Act and to take us back to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. Remember what that was? Denying children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. And you know, America has tried these failed policies before. And we are not going back. We are not going back.
Also, Fuzzy, I wouldn't expect to know her true intentions until she takes office in terms of foreign policy.
This afternoon,
Because remember, she's still part of the Biden administration at this moment. And if she's gonna take a U-turn on
Donald Trump spoke at the annual meeting
Palestine, it can't happen until after, you know, she's not part of the administration.
the divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. The American people deserve better. The American people deserve a leader who tells the truth, a leader who does not respond with hostility and anger when confronted with the facts. We deserve a leader who understands that our differences do not divide us. They are an essential source of our strength. So I say to Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom.
I don't understand right-wingers like trying to be like, oh, she locked people up. You people love that shit. You want to lock people up.
Freedoms and rights. The freedom to vote.
Fuck off.
The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to live without fear of bigotry and hate. The freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. The freedom to learn and acknowledge America's true and full history. And the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
Fucking darn tootin'.
A fight for our most fundamental freedoms. And to this room of leaders, I say, bring it on. Bring it on, those who would dare to attack these fundamental freedoms. Because we here, we love our country. We love our country. And I believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. So we, who believe in the sacred freedom to vote, will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the
Goddamn right.
Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe
It's pretty shit, but we can make it better.
from gun violence will
We can clean it up a little bit clinically.
universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
Try to leave it better for the kids that come after
We
us.
who believe in reproductive freedom will fight for a woman's right to choose. Because we know one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs.
It's the boomers frag.
Government should not be telling
I
her
swear.
what to do. Because we know faith and freedom can coexist. And understand, when he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court, the court of Thurgood and RBG, because he intended for them to overturn the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as he intended, they did. And now, in the South, where the majority of black women live, every state except for Virginia has an abortion ban. Many with no exception even for rape and incest. And now he intends to pass a nationwide abortion ban, to ban access to fundamental health care in every state. But I will not let that happen. I promise you, when I am president of the United States, and when
Yeah, brother, like, if you're being serious, if you're not just trolling me, you don't realize how fucking out of touch you people are. So-called conservatives, especially those of you in the online sphere, you guys are fucking weirdos.
moment, our fundamental freedoms are on the ballot. And so is our democracy. This month, and it really bears, just with all that's been happening, to for a moment pause and think about it. This month, the Supreme Court basically just told the former president, who has been convicted of fraud, that going forward, he will be immune for activity we know he is prepared to engage in if he gets back into the White House. Recall, Donald Trump has openly vowed, if reelected, to be a dictator on day one, that he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies, that he will round up peaceful protesters and throw them out of our country, and even, quote, terminate the United States Constitution. So in conclusion, I say to the incredible members of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, there is so much at stake in this moment. Election day is in 97 days. And in this moment, once again, our nation is counting on you to energize, to organize, and to mobilize, to register folks to vote and get them to the polls. Because when we organize, mountains move.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Nations change. And when we vote, we make history. So let us continue to fight with faith, with optimism, and with hope. And when we fight, we win. God.
I'll take cringe marks. I'm so into it.
Thank you.
Listening to her speak is refreshing. It is so much better than Trump or Biden. 1,000,000 times better. It was a low fucking bar. But she clears it. She leaped right over it. Well, she's uninspiring for you, Bagheera, because you're a dump shit. Unfortunately, we do not get Megan Thee Stallion tonight. I think Trump is wrapping up his speech, yeah.
For our rights.
This is the ass end of the Trump speech.
Pennsylvania is where our founding fathers declared America independence. Think of that. Think of the history that this great place is. Beautiful Pennsylvania. Think of the history that you have. It's where the Army weathered its brutal winter at Valley Forge, where General George Washington would never taken his name off any buildings they'd like to. When they want to take Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson off, it ain't gonna happen.
What is he talking about?
Under her, George Washington led his men on a daring mission across the Delaware, and where the Union was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, wow.
Gettysburg, wow.
Gettysburg. Where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania miners and steelworkers forged the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in serious decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, lost its willpower, and lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost, quite simply, its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. Soon be. With our leadership, every disaster Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created can be fixed, and be quick, very quickly. We're going to do it so quickly. Remember, I used to tell the story, we're going to win, right? We're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. We're going to win. We're going to start winning. Please, Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're going to win. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong...
Did we win?
By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be a full thing of the past. It will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be...
The felon is talking about law and justice.
Kamala Harris, the worst administration in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past, and our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the ones shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of our country. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America strong again. Make America proud again.
Media wins. Good evening.
America safe again. Make
It's so weird.
America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.
So there you go. That was the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Before that, we had the Harris rally from Houston. The vice president knows to come out, keep it short and sweet. Her speech was about, what, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Trump spoke for about an hour and a half. You feel inspired. You've got to be fucking with me, Bagheera. I like you, my friend. I wouldn't give you a titty slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
I'm not sure, Torchy, because we didn't watch the whole thing. Like this Trump rally was the least that we watched. We only watched, about 10 minutes in total of it, maybe. We watched all of Harris, and we watched Trump at the National Association of Black Journalists earlier today. And holy fuck, was that fun. So there you have it. I should have used the election graphics tonight. I did not do that. I don't know what is wrong with me. Let's go to Steve Kornacki and Chuck Todd, who are going to break down the polling in battleground states, which have tightened and apparently show a toss-up in the presidential race. No, do you want me to just toss out all? I was gonna give you a little taste of the news. I was gonna stick my little pinky nail up to the camera and give you a little snort of the news. Fuck Media Winch. You know how to come in here and give a guy a boner now, don't you? I love that Bagheera says insured, and I think he means insured with an E instead of insured with an I. I was going to give you a taste of the news, but if you really want you want a car chase, show of hands, who wants to ditch the news completely. I'm not doing both tonight. You got to pick. Car chase, find out what that news be doing. Is it going to be split in half again? Fuck. So far half, news winning. Because all the car chases I have are like an hour long. Fuck. Car chase winning. Bagheera coming in here and be like, who's the beautiful lady on the top right? Pointing out like the most like Aryan looking woman that you could possibly like, that is white Nazi looking, and that she's probably a perfectly nice lady, but she does. But the haircut, the look, very Russian, the Eastern European looking. Oh God, I can't do two car chases because goddamn. It seriously was like half and half. Car chases and news. Fucking shit. Okay. I think I have a 20-minute car chase. So let's do a 20-minute car chase, and then we'll do 23. Oh, there's a poll in chat. News is winning in chat. News is running away with it in the chat poll. But the people that actually spoke up in chat, it was like tied, car chase and news. News winning it still. It's 5-3. I am a man of the people. 6-3 for the news now. You got 90 seconds. 90 seconds left. News with a car chase and the little car chase is winning in YouTube. Is there a poll in YouTube I have to add? Oh my god. God damn, I love you guys. I have so much fun. I'm going to end up doing both anyway, aren't I? Fuckers. I really need to do some work. I got this dude really pissed at me. I don't see no poll on YouTube. News running away with it. Guy comments, car chase. Okay, we'll do a little bit of news, we'll end with a car chase. I'm glad I got like a 20-minute one. Okay, so let's go to... It's not a dictatorship, Bagheera. We're communists over here. We're leftists, at least. Most of us are leftists. News goes first, though, because News won the poll. So Steve Kornacki, Chuck Todd, and some Aryan-looking woman are going to break down the election for us.
Later tonight, Steve Kornacki is at the big board for more on the battleground implications of the vice president's upcoming campaign swing. And our chief political analyst, Chuck Todd, is here with me on set. Now, Chuck, I want to start with you. Your initial reaction to this NABJ conference, do you think Donald Trump was trying to go in there to get a rise out of this group and perhaps appeal to his base?
Well, that's what, certainly his always, it's default, right? This is his default mode. You know, you have default settings on any sort of piece of electronic. This is his default setting. And I do think that his instinct was, hey, I want to get into it here. I'm going to see if I can create some tension in the room. And I think he thought, I don't know where he got this idea, and I think he thought somehow that he could play her mixed identity, somehow that he could do this. And, you know, I heard from a whole bunch of people as this was going on, particularly Republicans.
Guy comment, I don't know if this will make you sad or if it'll blow your mind, but he is a registered conservative. He is registered as a conservative. Votes conservative because he's shown me. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, he is a Tory. Cause I've been like, nah, man, you're just joshing me, and he's brought receipts. So
Republicans who say, why is Donald Trump trying to help Democrats get out the vote with
exactly
African Americans?
Right. The Biden campaign,
it's just astonishing.
They had to be loving this in a way. I mean, they were already tweeting out their war room.
You did the Freudian slip there, the Biden campaign. You meant the Harris campaign.
That's right.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome.
You know, I'm having to catch myself all week doing that. Yes, the Harris campaign.
Right.
They were posting on social media videos almost immediately.
Well, you know, my initial reaction to this is I
seriously, can I say how fucking quickly the Harris apparatus kicked into gear. Holy shit, mad props to them. The reporting is that they found out that Sunday morning, they knew about 2 hours before we knew. But I would assume that they had an inclination, that they were told to prepare, by donors or something like they had some idea that they would need to get an apparatus together. Because, holy shit, it just flipped the fuck on. And, that's amazing.
Chris Aceveda and Susie Wiles, the two people that are running this campaign that have brought as much discipline as is possible around Donald Trump. There's only so much you can do as long as you can sort of keep him away from unscripted moments. I think the likelihood of a one-on-one debate between Trump and Harris just dramatically, if you could watch it as a stock market, you would sell right now, because the likelihood of them, there is no good that will come out of a one-on-one debate with Donald Trump. He has never handled being questioned by African-American women well. It has always gone off the rails like it did.
Well, Chuck, you might have to eat your words, because apparently he agreed to it tonight during his speech. That is the one thing we saw. To only have watched about 10 minutes of the speech, we apparently saw him agree to debate Vice President Harris. I don't know if that means it'll actually happen, because Chuck is right.
Today.
And Chuck, just really quickly, can you guesstimate how many times in the past 8-9 years since Donald Trump came into the political arena that we keep saying, this is too far. He's gone too far. The racial identity question today would have torpedoed any other politician. This doesn't even seem like one of those moments, because we're so used to it by now.
Yes, I take your point on that, but I think what you really have here is it was
a disaster.
It is a reminder. He's always been his own worst enemy. He's always been, he talks himself into problems. Where if he literally said less, if he just no-showed today, that doesn't happen. If he just, he doesn't know how to admit a mistake. He doesn't. If he did, he'd have had a second term. If he did, the problem is we could sit here and say, but if only he would do this. It doesn't matter. That's not who he is. This is who he is. As I was saying out there to some cops, Trump's going to Trump. And that's what we saw today. This was, in some ways, vintage Trump. He can't help himself. And in this case,
vintage Trump.
I have some skepticism whether the country's ready to elect Kamala Harris. But the idea that this would make him disassemble was always what I thought was a potential here, that he could essentially lose the race against her. And it's moments like this where he's losing.
Well, I want to bring in Dasha Burns, who is live for us in Pennsylvania.
I think the contrast is stark.
Just a couple of hours, there's going to be
her name's Dasha.
Donald Trump. You can already see the crowd behind you, Dasha. How is the campaign feeling about these comments that he made about Harris's heritage?
He's German as fuck.
Well, look, Gabe, they're already on defense. The Trump War Room Twitter account is retweeting supportive tweets from their allies, and also tweeting saying this goes to show that fake news journalists don't care about inflation, they don't care about border security, they don't care about improving our schools, etc. They just care about, quote, getting Trump. So they're on defense. We're out to comment for comment from the campaign officially. We're waiting to see.
Gratuitous. Thank you for being a freaking follower, even though the
they are
alert didn't pop up.
This was a combative environment that he went into, and this is how the former president chose to handle it.
So the former president's campaign, how do they feel about Kamala Harris getting all this media attention over the last couple of days? The media ecosystem has just been dominated by headlines about her. Is this a position the Trump campaign is used to?
Well, Gabe, you and I both know very well the former president does not like it when he's not the center of attention. And who knows, perhaps what he just did at the conference there was a way to get the headlines focused on him again, for better or for worse, right? But this has been the real recalibration, the change in the dynamic that they've had to deal with. A new opponent who has a different background, who has a different
little commie
with the Democratic base, and potentially with some of those voters that are still still undecided, and they're having to pivot and shift strategy in real time here. And I think we're watching that play out right now, Gabe.
Dasha Burns live for us in Pennsylvania. Dasha, thank you. And I want to bring in...
Oh, Steve Kornacki. That's what we were wanting.
Running mate, our running mate to be. I should
the reason we're watching this video.
7 stops next week in each of the top battleground states. So what does that tell you about the path the Harris campaign sees to get to the White House?
Yeah, so a couple ways to look at this. We
get a good mix, Venus.
Core battleground. They say North Carolina is right in there. North Carolina is a little different from these other battleground states in this way. All of the other battleground states went Biden in 2020. North Carolina was still a Trump state in 2020. But basically look at it this way. Where things had been before Harris got in the race, before she switched in for Joe Biden, the Biden campaign was looking at an extremely narrow path. I'm just going to show you, again, you see Harris's name, but when Biden was the likely Democratic nominee, the Biden folks were basically saying this was going to be their wall, their fortress. Those 3 Big Ten states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, it would just get them to 270 because the problem was Biden was struggling in particular with non-white voters, with Hispanic voters. He'd been lagging by a pretty big margin what Democrats typically get with black voters. And so these more diverse sort of Sun Belt states here, the polling was the worst for Biden there relative to these states. Now, with Harris as the likely nominee here for the Democrats, the question is, does that start to change? Can she do something in these Sun Belt states that would allow her not to have to win all 3 of the states up here? So, I mean, take a look right now. If Trump were to sweep all of these, right? Again, he'd be at 268. He would just need 1 of these states up here in Big
Pennsylvania is where he's polling the best.
What if Harris was able to pick off? Here's an example. The polling is suggesting right now Harris is doing better with Hispanic voters. There's a growing Hispanic population in Georgia. Margin there was 12,000 for Biden last time around. What if Harris was able to get Georgia? Well, now she's at 286 in this scenario. And now if she were to lose Michigan, she could afford it. So she can open up more every one of these Sun Belt states. If she's able to win any of them, if she does, it takes the pressure off these states here in the Midwest. And Democrats see with Harris the growth potential for their coalition in this election relative to Biden. The growth, they see a lot of it is with non-white voters, both with support levels and enthusiasm levels. If that's something that plays out,
it is a much more enthusiastic campaign, that's for sure.
But if that's something that plays out, you'll see it much more clearly in a Georgia, in a Carolina, in an Arizona, in a Nevada than you will in a state like Wisconsin. It's about 90% white. The states up here are older.
I'm bracing for her to pick Shapiro.
Can she move that battleground around? Can she open up the South?
Apparently he is the front runner as of the reporting this afternoon. We are going to get a pick from Harris on hell yeah, let's do it. We're going to get a pick, a vice presidential pick from Harris by Monday at least. They are going to be campaigning together next week. I hope. Okay, Ducky, I don't think it's going to be Buttigieg or Kelly. I think it's going to be Walz, Bashir, or Shapiro, and I have a feeling it's going to be Shapiro. I'm hoping that Shapiro's a fake out and she picks Bashir. Bagheera, you're a fucking idiot. It's not going to be RFK. No. Don't interrupt me at all. Or you're not interrupting me at all. I wanted to give my opinion about the vice presidency because I don't think I don't think a lot of people were in here when I was ranting about it earlier.
And not have to rely on.
Fair enough.
Steve, a lot of the conversation right now over the VP.
But here's the thing: the thing that RFK is strong on, corporate law and environment. That's kind of the thing that Shapiro's strong on. Like that's not Shapiro's downfall.
Is how that might change the electoral map. Kind of walk us through that if you can. Arizona versus Pennsylvania.
He's for fucking vouchers.
Shapiro versus Senator Mark Kelly, or even Governor Walz might help in the Midwest. What are the calculations that the Harris campaign is making right now with regards to those vice presidential picks?
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting because, you know, and it's resetting this right here. It's interesting because we hear it all the time. Hey, put this candidate on the ticket, get this.
RFK is a staunch environmentalist.
That much that presidential nominees actually go for that strategy. But again, resetting the battleground here. Let's say Harris were to pick a Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes. It is by electoral votes the largest of any of these battleground states. And right away, that would put Harris at 245. And again, it just opens up all sorts of possibilities for her. We showed you if she could win, if she got Pennsylvania and she could just get Michigan and Wisconsin, there's 270. But if you got Pennsylvania in your pocket and you could say pick off Georgia, look, now she's within 10.
Got Pennsylvania in my pocket.
There. You see, that's the Pennsylvania, you know, because it's so big in terms of electoral votes, you get Pennsylvania, you can lose both of these other Big Ten states if you're getting Georgia, Arizona. It doesn't work the other way. If you don't get Pennsylvania, let's say Trump were to get Pennsylvania, I'll reset this. If Trump were to get Pennsylvania and Harris got, let's say, Wisconsin instead, see, she's short. You know, or if she were to get, reset this one, if she were to get Michigan, she's short. So Pennsylvania of these Big Ten states is particularly important.
The multi-talented Steve Kornacki.
So, Mox, I believe the brainworm because he's one of those guys that's like out surfing on the beaches of Machu Picchu, and he's doing a lot of like going and building wells in Africa and shit. So, like, I could believe he picked up a brainworm somewhere. That's within the realm of possibility. Oh, we just talked about RFK's brainworm. I went on my rant. We're really hoping that it's going to be Bashir or Waltz, the Walls, not Waltz, the governor of Minnesota. Like how I correct myself there? To be the VP pick for Harris. But it's probably going to be shitty-ass Josh Shapiro.
Now to the presidential race. We still don't know who Vice President Kamala Harris will pick as her running mate, but we are getting a look at what their schedule will be. The duo are expected to tour several battleground states next week, and it kicks off in Pennsylvania. This comes after Harris held a rally in Georgia last night, which included a performance by rapper Megan Thee Stallion and a dare to former President Trump. Listen.
I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate.
I would take Kelly over Shapiro.
Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say,
For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Nancy.
I like that she laughed.
Sounded like an effort to coin a phrase. I predict we'll see that phrase on Harris T-shirts not too long from now. But what do we know about this battleground state tour that she will take with her new running mate, and who might that be?
That is the million-dollar question, Errol. Everyone is reading into the fact that this tour, and you put up a graphic of it, maybe we can see that again because it's quite extensive, that the campaign says the vice president is going to be taking with her running mate, whoever that is, starting next week, Tuesday. And the fact that that tour starts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, before moving on across the country to Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, the fact that it's...
I think the governor of Kentucky can help win Pennsylvania, can help win North Carolina, can help win Georgia. Will also do very well in Wisconsin and Michigan. Also, very strong on teachers' unions. Bashir is incredibly strong on teachers' unions. What's one of the largest voting constituencies in Nevada? Teachers' unions. I think Bashir is the pick.
Starts in Philadelphia. It is leading many to conclude that Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is the one who is eventually
the Kentucky guy.
Why wouldn't you start off with a big kickoff in his home state, which also, by the way, happens to be the biggest battleground state in the country?
He's the most popular governor in the country.
Is trying to tamp down that speculation. They insist that the vice president hasn't even made her choice yet. She herself said that yesterday. But we know that the list has now been whittled down to 5 front runners. There are more that are being vetted, but the 5 front runners, as we have reported, are Shapiro plus several other governors: Andy Beshear of Kentucky, Tim Walz of Minnesota, Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, and Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona.
Why is Mayo Pete in there?
To be the finalists, and we'll find out sooner than we expected at the beginning of next week.
And we've heard each of those men go on the attack against the Trump campaign in recent days.
Hey, good evening.
Meantime, the Trump campaign has been heavily attacking Harris's role, they say, on the border, her failure, they say, to bring results. And she responded to that yesterday for the first time. How so?
Right. So they say the best offense is the best defense, and that is what Harris attempted to do yesterday, really going on the attack when it comes to immigration. She knows that they have been describing her as the border czar, which is not exactly what her role was, but it's certainly an attack that they're worried will stick. And so she argued yesterday.
You should have dressed up as Halloween, like some sort of fucking Russian czar.
That if she is president, she is going to bring back this bipartisan compromise that looked like it was headed for passage in the Senate until former President Trump told his Republican allies in the Senate to kill it because he wanted it to remain an issue for him. So she argued that she's not the one standing in the way of progress on this issue, that it is actually former President Trump. She also touted her own record on the issue of immigration, not just as vice president, but throughout her career. Take a listen to that.
I was the Attorney General of a border state. In that job, I walked underground tunnels between the United States and Mexico on that border with law enforcement officers. I went after transnational gangs, drug cartels, and human traffickers that came into our country illegally. I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won.
So Harris arguing that she's actually tough when it comes to immigration, part of a new line that we've been hearing from Democrats in this White House for some time now.
All right, Nancy, with the latest from the White House, thank you so much.
He likes to stick his ass into the microphone, so always turn the microphone off when he gets up here. He's got to get like in position. Are you telling me to stop? Oh, the Democrats. I thought like maybe like my position on the screen was bothering you. That makes way more sense. Oh, fucking shit. I didn't even realize that the primary hadn't happened. I thought she was already the candidate, and I referred to her as the candidate. But apparently, it just became official last night that she is the candidate. Carrie Lake has won the Republican primary for the Senate in Arizona.
Going everywhere, visiting dozens and dozens of churches and groups, but particularly black churches. And there is such an energy in our community about having new candidates, new policies, about having people that are really listening. It's about faith, it's about finances, it's about freedom. That's what our community's talking about.
The battle is not in Washington, D.C., nor is in Phoenix. The battles are within our neighborhoods. It's within our own streets. We have to win our streets first. And
is that Bowen Yang?
Carry to our U.S. Senate to make sure that we got
Saturday Night Live.
Back in our White House. To make sure
you doing a character?
Arizona red.
Our country's at a crossroads. The challenges we face are not Democrat-Republican challenges. The party doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're the pizza party, the food party, the Democrat party, or the Republican.
Pizza party.
Do you love this country and want to save this great nation for our future?
We'll have a pizza party now.
The path that my opponent, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's favorite congressman, there's a thing called opposition research. Have you heard about that? It's basically when you go all the history of somebody in politics. You look at their voting record, the things they've done. You know, most people in politics have a record about this big, and that's not good. I have a one-page record. There's nothing on it. You would not believe what Ruben Gallego,
Yeah, because you can't win an election.
research folder looks like. Do we have that somewhere? Bring that out. This is 10 years of being in Congress. Oh my God. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can lift this. There's something happening in Arizona. Look at these numbers tonight. Look who won these races tonight. There's something happening here in America right now.
She's talking about the Republican primary.
World right now. Look at Venezuela. Yeah. Look at the people. Look at humanity coming together. When we win the U.S. Senate seat, we will make America safe again. How about this? We will make Arizona affordable again. And guess what? We're going to make Arizona grand again.
She mentioned Venezuela, but I don't know in what sense. Kind of baffling to me. I still don't know what to think, really, because it appears the Carter Foundation, who does election monitoring, has said that they don't think that it was a fair election and it doesn't meet international standards. And there's other groups coming out and saying that the election doesn't meet international standards. I've said that I thought Maduro is sus. Even though he's a supposed leftist president, I smell an actual fascist posing as a leftist. That's just me. I don't know. I don't know that because we've had so much propaganda from the West, it's hard to know what to believe. But reputable organizations are saying that the election was not free and fair. So I err on the side of it probably wasn't free and fair. However, if we get a fight between Maduro and Elon Musk, I am totally going to root for Maduro.
Elon Musk, quien se mete conmigo, se seca. Quien se mete con Venezuela, se seca. Elon Musk. ¿Quieres pelea? Vamos a darle, Elon Musk. Estoy listo. Soy hijo de Bolívar y de Chávez. No te tengo miedo, Elon Musk. Vamos a darnos, pues. Donde quiera. Como decimos en Caracas, en los barrios. Si tú quieres, yo quiero, Elon Musk. Digo.
Let me translate. Elon Musk apparently challenging Nicolas Maduro to a fight. Whoever messes with me dries up. Whoever messes with Venezuela dries up. Elon Musk. You want to fight? Let's have it, Elon Musk. I'm ready. I'm the son of Bolivar and Chavez. I'm not afraid of you. Let's go at it. Wherever you want. As we say in Caracas in the neighborhoods, if you want it, I want it, Elon Musk. Just say where.
Elon Musk, quien se mete con...
I would watch it and root for Maduro. Just saying. But Elon is never going to fight anybody. I was going to root for Zuck against Elon. I was hoping Zuck kicked his ass. And Zuck, like, apparently actually is a fighter, so... Holy shit! I want it. Put it in my veins. Last night we didn't get to see it, but Megan Thee Stallion opened for Kamala Harris, has endorsed her, is apparently an official surrogate of the campaign. Here she is talking about reproductive freedom.
Now I know my ladies in the crowd love their body. Real hot girl. And if you want to keep loving your body, you know who to go for. Hey.
She's so cool.
Yeah. Body crazy, curvy, wavy. Yeah. Crazy, curvy, wavy. Now I know my ladies.
I keep seeing it. I don't know if it's true, but you can pay 20 grand to grab Megan Thee Stallion's ass. Is that a real thing? And apparently, by popular demand, Maya Rudolph will be returning to Saturday Night Live to play Kamala Harris at least through the election. Maya Rudolph will return to her old stomping grounds at NBC Saturday Night Live to reprise her impression of Vice President Kamala Harris when the show returns this fall. Several outlets reported the return, including CNN entertainment correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister. Deadline noted that pre-production on Rudolph's Apple TV series Loot was pushed for scheduling reasons. The show was set to begin shooting on August 26. Rudolph's portrayal of Harris became a meme crowd favorite, especially after SNL spoofed the infamous fly debate between Harris and then Vice President Mike Pence. All right, I gotta be careful because NBC will zap me. They're fucking hard asses on copyright. I'm excited for Maya Rudolph though. That's pretty cool. So we watched the Harris speech and the Trump speech earlier. J.D. Vance was in Nevada. J.D. Vance was in Nevada and apparently made a joke about a couch. I mean, I guess if J.D. Vance and couch is trending.
Now, I would call her up here to come and speak, but then I think I'd have to sleep on the couch tonight, so I'll leave her alone.
It is very possible. I will not put it past him that he is so unaware, so in a bubble, and so oblivious that he has no idea there's a whole thing about him fucking couches going on the internet. I can believe that. Call me crazy, but I can totally believe that. Also, a point in that view is the fact that I don't think he is smart enough that it was just like some sly reference.
But now I would call her up here to come and speak, but then I think I'd have to sleep on the couch tonight, so I'll leave her alone.
I don't think he's smart enough to be sly about it. Who need their calcium ate? Mark says you think he 100% knows about it. I don't know, man. Fucking, is he a billionaire? He's a multimillionaire. Hey, fucking rich people get in a fucking bubble. I don't know. All right, let's do a few crime stories. And then we'll get the car chase in. Does it sound like a plan? Sparkles, are you still in here? 'Cause I feel like this story is just like it's you. You'll want to hear this. An ex-ballerina was found guilty of murder. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to hear it because you would have rooted on the ballerina.
Lakewood Ranch mother Ashley Benefield could spend up to 30 years in prison for shooting and killing her husband Doug back in 2020. A decision that didn't come easy for jurors, but one that seems to satisfy the victim's side of the family.
We love her like God loves her, but you have to pay for your crime, and she's finally going to do that.
After more than a week on trial, Ashley Benefield has been found guilty of manslaughter. Her stepdaughter delivering this message after the verdict was announced.
I apologize to all the women who have gone through domestic violence situations. I think that what Ashley was doing was unfair to them. They deserve justice, and I'm very happy that my dad got the justice that he deserves.
Crime enthusiasts from all over the world watching this case unfold, many of them believing Benefield was guilty after she took the stand.
He started coming towards me, and then he lunged at me, and I started pulling the trigger, and he just kept coming.
The jury's final decision was actually a lesser conviction. At one point, the jury said they were having trouble reaching a decision. The judge asked if they'd rather wait until today, but they ended up delivering Benefield's verdict 1 hour later.
Even though her story wasn't corroborated by evidence, it's still confusing to get to that second-degree homicide level. But we were always comfortable that it would at least be a manslaughter with a firearm, and we're comfortable and happy with that.
Guess she looked like a ballerina. Really know what a ballerina looks like. You're like petite, right? Petite. We've been covering a rash of burglaries around the LA area. Apparently a very common thing nowadays in these rich areas. And this one got a paintball gun for it.
Welcome to the KTLA 5 Morning News at 11 a.m. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Thanks for joining us this morning. We begin with developing news. Surveillance video shows how a neighbor helped stop yet another burglary in the San Fernando Valley.
KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang live now in Tarzana with the details. Kimberly?
Hi, and I want to point out the trailer that helped save the man who was inside of it. It's right behind me here. You can see that there are cameras all around this trailer parked on the street. The resident who lives in this neighborhood uses that trailer as his office and man cave, and he said he wanted eyes on the street, and yesterday it came in handy. Thieves tried to break into his neighbor's home. He saw them through the cameras and jumped into action.
You're dead, bro.
This is video from that Tarzana resident firing a paintball gun at some would-be thieves as they drove off. Julian Harper Smith says he was in his trailer, which he calls his man cave, around 10 p.m. when he saw a group of people covered up wearing hoodies hop over his neighbor's gate. He parks it in front of his home, and when he saw that, he says he grabbed a spotlight, started making noise. The suspects ran off. Harper Smith said he fired some warning shots with his paintball gun at their car. The trailer has cameras all around it. Harper Smith said he wanted eyes on the street to prevent crime, and almost every day he sees things like people trying to get into cars. Some neighbors reported the trailer as an eyesore before, but as of today, some are changing their tune.
I just seen a car pull up and they were there for a second, so I was just wondering what they were doing. I see them on camera in my office.
That's a nice trailer.
3 guys hopped in a neighbor's wall, so I just want to see what was going on. And then I grabbed my paintball gun / pepperball gun and one of my brighter flashlights, hoping that would just scare them off. And then they came running out, and then they hopped in the car, so I just put my flashlight down and just give them a couple like paintball shots to the back of the car just to tell them to stay away.
He's a madman. Are you kidding me? It's the coolest thing in the world. I mean, he chased these guys down, not knowing if they had guns or not, and shot at them.
Sure you weren't too crazy about the man cave in the street before this?
Well, that's a freaking eyesore, but you know what? It's a nice eyesore today. Yesterday was a horrible eyesore. Today, I'm kind of digging on it.
It's nicer than some of the houses people live in East Tennessee.
Back patrolling the area Tuesday after yet another home break-in. The homeowner said it's the second time they've been burglarized in the last couple of years. It happened not far from where other residents reported hot prowl break-ins at different homes in recent days. In one incident, a child and nanny were home when a man broke in to steal designer items. In the past month, police say break-ins in Encino, south of the 101 freeway, went up 40%. LAPD said 5 were reported within a 2-week period between July 10th and 28th. Police say many thieves tend to break in through glass back doors. And back here live, we're told LAPD has bumped up patrol with support from volunteer reserves, and LAPD Commercial Burglary Task Force is partnering with West Valley Division to expand their investigative efforts. Reporting live in Tarzana, Kimberly Chang, KTLA 5 News.
I feel like we report on several just because we've had video. Like the burglary that happened when people were home, the dude that chased the burglars down the street. Well, yeah, I get all the crime stories and everything. Once again, I always say to keep that in perspective because, like, crime is at historically low levels. We hear about it more because there's more news. There's a need for content constantly, and I specifically, my YouTube is littered. Which, I mean, to be fair with you guys, I'll show you what my YouTube looks like. It is 3 things. It is news. Yeah, I'm signed in. It is news, it is music, and it is wrestling. News, music, and wrestling. So as you can see, like the top 3 recommendations: Trump rushed off stage from earlier today. Eminem Sucks Part 4, which, yes, I am waiting for it for tomorrow. I can't wait for that episode. And what if the Ultimate Warrior didn't leave? More wrestling, news. This specifically, it gives me top news because it knows I'm always going to look at the top news. I get all the Jim Cornette videos pop up, Majority Report. That dude's really cool. I've watched a few of his videos. Somebody in chat threw him out. Yeah, wrestling, news, Rammstein. That's pretty much what I get. Some YouTube video essay kind of shit. the Tabernacle. I'll let him explain to me what's going on with YouTube drama kind of shit. If I want to, I still don't know what the fuck Demon Mama and Xander Hall are fighting over, but everybody's talking about it. I don't. So yeah, that's what how film Twitter fell out of love with Ryan Reynolds. I almost clicked on that earlier. Kayla says she makes good videos. I'll let her tell me about some kind of pop culture bullshit I'm behind on. One Hit Wonderland, bitch, by Meredith. I've been liking this series, this One Hit Wonderland series. Been really into it. Oh, some video games. Some video game shit's thrown in there too. So yeah, that's what we got going on over here on my YouTube Rex. Really, like, if you guys, if you like especially like 80s, if you're my age, if you're 40, if you're like a fucking elder millennial, you will love the channel Secret Galaxy. It's all the member berries shit. The calculated history of the Care Bears, brutally efficient capitalism. It'll tickle your member berries and give you some good information. Secret Galaxy. You'll really enjoy that channel. If I had any other Recs for you, if somebody popped up. Leisha Miller, if you're into legal shit, Leisha Miller is fucking awesome. I have the biggest crush on her. Oh my god. I have a crush on everybody, though. They called me Lusty Justin in high school because they said I lusted over everybody. Just like every female and some males, I was just all over. If you're a late Gen Xer, you will also love Secret Galaxy. It's your child. It's Care Bears, G.I. Joes, fucking The Lost Boys. It's like 80s media. So like it's like your childhood. I want to see, like, if I saw any of the other really good like essay channels, I would totally Captain Midnight. I like Captain Midnight for I even watched this video apparently about the CW channel and its transformations. Captain Midnight. This Wrestling Bios channel. This dude is like he's maybe he's from Wales, Scotland, Ireland. He's got like, my buddy said he couldn't get over his accent.
Cena ended up winning after delivering an attitude adjustment on the steel ring steps. To be fair,
but he does a good job. I like his videos. I like to put them on while I'm cooking, cause like I got the big TV, I can see over the thing, so like I've got some visuals, but I don't have to be watching it. So like I watch a lot of his videos while I'm fucking Bad Hasbara. That's fucking Francesca's husband. Fuck, what's his name? He's so fucking funny. Curiouser, good evening. Oren Brown, fucking awesome. Matt Lieb, yes. He is hilarious. Really enjoy him. You got here just in time, Curiouser. We're getting ready to do... oh, shit. I got one more story. One more story, and then it's car chase time. Everybody was good through the speeches. So now it's car chase time. Oh, you think he's Northern Ireland? Or are you just naming off different places? Did you recognize the accent, Libertad? And you know it's Northern Ireland? Or are you just naming off different places in the UK? I need to know this. But yeah, I couldn't get over his voice at first either. Like it kind of bothered me. But then like he does a good job. He won me over with his content. There's some channels I've blocked just because I do not like their content whatsoever. I'm very pissed off. Oh, is he Northern Ireland? I knew it was somewhere over in that area. I got the specific area. A Southern California man has been accused of stealing a deputy's gun and firing it at him.
Federal charges and a
At her.
attack on a San Bernardino County deputy.
It happened in Victorville in 2019. The suspect was found not guilty at trial. KTLA 5's Chip Yost is live in Riverside with more on the new charges. Hi, Chip.
It's
like double jeopardy to me.
Attack was caught on video, and because what was caught on video, a lot of people were surprised when the suspect in this case was found not guilty of the most serious charges during a state trial. One of the people surprised was the U.S. attorney, who said he felt justice was not
federal charges.
So now he's going to try to deliver some of that justice himself.
That's how. Okay.
It's video that to some is difficult to watch. A female San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy being attacked as she responded to a domestic disturbance call. The attacker, later identified as Ari Young, eventually got his hands on her gun.
Mr. Young did not like being confronted by this deputy, who was a woman, so he brutally attacked her. He punched her in the face. He knocked her to the ground. He proceeded to steal her service weapon. When she got up,
I like to think it's because she was a cop and not because she was a woman.
Fleeing for her life, he shot in her direction.
Thankfully, his shot did not hit her. Young, however, was shot by other responding deputies. He survived and last year went to trial. However, there in state court, he was found not guilty of the most serious charges, including attempted murder.
Oh, I was absolutely shocked.
But San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes did not give up on the case. Instead, he brought the case to the attention of people at the U.S. Attorney's Office, who Wednesday announced they were filing federal charges.
Based on our review of those state court proceedings, we believe justice was not done in those proceedings, and therefore we are bringing these federal felony charges. Those felony charges relate to possession of a stolen firearm and the violent robbery.
How close was that shot?
From the sheriff's deputy.
It's my responsibility as the sheriff to protect the public.
He gave up right after that.
Deputies. And that's what I think the brilliance of today is that we're protecting law enforcement officers, and everybody needs to remember that a law enforcement officer can be a victim also.
So again, this happened in Victorville in 2019. We're told the statute of limitations on these new charges is 5 years, so they are just within that range. And the U.S. attorney says if he is convicted on these new charges, he could face decades in prison. We did reach out to his previous attorney on the...
I knew you'd say that clinically.
But have not heard back as of yet. For now, reporting live here in Riverside, I'm Chip Yost, KTLA 5 News.
Mr. You enjoy telling people to suck your ass. Okay, what was it? The Surfs channel? You were in there telling lies. In there telling lies clinically. I mean, that's pretty good advice, I think. All right, here's your chase. I ran into clinically. I think it was the Surfs earlier today. I'll make the rounds. Like sometimes when I have some free time, if I'm exporting a video or something, I'll go make the rounds on Twitch and say hey to people. I think I was in the Surfs and clinically was in there, and clinically said that he did not enjoy anything. And I was like, you enjoy telling people to suck your ass. Lying sack of shit. I know this to be a fact. This happened back in January. We're watching, this is a New Year's chase.
About 25 minutes ago, and has continued to basically put this in and out of tracking mode because you can see just how dangerous this is getting, going the wrong way here on Alameda. Now, this has been a very dangerous pursuit throughout. However, they have given the go-ahead for a pit maneuver if they have the opportunity to even re-engage this pursuit. Right now, they have not, stand by, right now they have not re-engaged the pursuit. They're having trouble just trying to catch up with the suspect as he continues down Alameda. He's been kind of reversing course here and zigzagging his way through South LA, but you can see just how busy it is on a Friday evening as he tries to negotiate this intersection with lots of cross traffic. You can see the two-tone, it's a Dodge Challenger, Dodge Charger, Dodge Challenger, Christina. I think it's a Dodge, Dodge. I have Dodge Challenger, is flying, Mark, just flying the wrong way.
The Chrysler something.
Could have trouble. Yeah, he's having a hard time.
Hers is like orange, isn't it?
A lot of hard braking as he approaches traffic at many of these intersections.
They're like rusty color.
Right there, right through it. With
God damn.
You saw somebody trying to turn there. He is going about 70 to 80 miles per hour down Alameda Street. He's now been in Alameda for a good few minutes here, and that may provide them with an opportunity for a spike strip, but you can see there's just so much traffic in the area, it's going to be very difficult to set up.
On the wrong side of the road right now.
They can at least get units ahead of him.
Oh, he's in the turn lane.
And plan accordingly. It's a very difficult pursuit for LAPD,
Holy
especially
shit.
at these speeds. Again, he is flying down Alameda, heavily tinted windows. We do not know how many people are inside that vehicle, but they do have tactics at their disposal if they can get units in position. Right now, it's really up to the air unit to call out the location and then get those. Look at this! Oh, lots of close calls here. I mean, this is
fucking A, this is awesome.
He has not shown any signs of slowing down despite all of the traffic, and the amount of traffic that he's encountering is remarkable.
Not that I know of, Libertad.
I mean, just trying to think back in recent memory.
I'll see if I can find one for you.
Much traffic again on a Friday night, you would expect that kind
Let's
of traffic.
start taking requests for chases.
A pursuit going this fast through these various busy intersections as he continues down Alameda Street. Oh my goodness. That was right near that was right near Bandera Street along Firestone Boulevard. He's made a right turn onto Firestone now, and he is just
I picked a good one for us.
We have seen so many close calls. Again, almost a miracle at this point that there have not been any collisions that we are aware of, but he is continuing to push the pedal to the metal through these intersections, at some points barely even braking, but really able to swerve.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
But a number of very close.
Purgatories you gave just in time for the chase. This has been crazy already.
Here, he's easily going over the double yellow lines at times, going the wrong way wherever he has an opportunity, and now he's coming up on a little bit heavier traffic here for the first time, slowing down. They don't have anybody in the area. At least I don't see any sirens in the area right now. He is now on Firestone Boulevard. He is heading in the westbound direction there on Firestone. We're going to try and let's see. He's right. Is he behind the tree, or is he up ahead? Go up ahead.
I should get a job riding one of these helicopters.
There he is. There he is.
I love this shit so much.
Here, using maybe a bicycle lane.
Goldfish.
Traffic at Zamora.
Good evening. Welcome.
Firestone Boulevard. Again, what I was about to say was that
we're watching classic car chases. This one's from about 8 months ago.
To intercept this pursuit, and so right now we do have LAPD's airship calling it out. but putting this in tracking mode has not worked to their benefit, and it has not had the desired effect of calming this driver down or taking any of the pressure off. The driving tactics have
been spectacular thus far.
Reckless,
Multiple
dangerous, regardless of who's behind them.
near hits.
Well, that's another thing. He keeps turning his lights on and off at various points. He's been driving blacked out without any headlights.
I've noticed that. Why is he doing
He
that?
does have his headlights on, but they've been on and off over the course of this pursuit repeatedly. Now he's on a surface street here along 81st Street, going a little bit slower. He better. I mean, it's really a very narrow road right there. That's a residential street right there. 81st, making a turn possibly, or just negotiating another intersection.
You think I wouldn't call it the LAPD? The LAPD airship?
Just under maybe 15, 20 miles per hour.
Apparently can't say it.
Street there, whereas there's obviously much less traffic. We'll see if he's looking for another major here or if he starts to speed up down 81st Street. But right now, we are negotiating with LAX's air traffic control as we come through the right turn there. That's Avalon Boulevard, and he's slowing down a little bit. You can see the driving behavior has changed slightly here as he makes his way.
I like frog.
But right now we don't see still at this point no sign of any black and white.
Thank you. It was so sweet of you to come in here and give me recommendations on the best viewers.
Yeah, this is very tough. We're going to go ahead and pan over to the right a little bit, Brian. Over to the right. Nope, a little more. There he is. There he is. That's him. That's him. That's him.
I lost him.
Yep. No, I understand.
Well, he stopped there and, like, you know, he's a banging truck. Oh, now he's speeding up. Oh, ho.
Off to the races now, northbound San Pedro Street. He's on the correct side at this moment. He's dragging something, it almost looked like there for a second. Another busy intersection in oncoming lanes, making a left turn on Florence Avenue, trying to squeeze through any cars. I mean, there were cars going in all different directions in that intersection. He was able to manage to kind of weave his way through here. He's done.
Don't all the Chargers have a Hemi in them?
15 minutes.
Or do you have to get that? Is that like the sport package or something?
I cannot believe that we have not
seen Challenger
collisions, but this has a recipe for disaster if he continues driving like this, especially at these intersections without even slowing down. Once again, pedal to the metal, northbound Main Street at 69th Street, going north in towards downtown LA here, coming behind these apartment
Challenger,
buildings.
yeah.
We are on the east side of the 110 freeway, trying to negotiate with air traffic control here as they manage a very busy airspace on a Friday night. You can see he's continuing northbound Main
What's
Street
the difference
here,
between a Challenger and a Charger?
slightly, but lots of traffic.
They look the same to me.
With,
but I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen
in this area on
a Challenger up close.
This is going to be just a hard-pounding.
Is it a 4-door or something?
You slice
it's a 2-door, clearly.
I just hesitate to even guess how this is going to end. But right now he is continuing northbound Main Street into the downtown area here in the next mile or so.
Bigger engine.
On the wrong way.
Whoa.
Oof. Well, the pit maneuver would require somebody to get behind him, and at these speeds and the way he's driving, they are having a hard time getting units behind him, especially with all of the traffic. The traffic is a real issue tonight on all of these surface streets. You can see every turn he makes almost. You're seeing a lot of volume, an occasional straightaway here, and that just gives him an opportunity to go even faster. So if they can get somebody behind him, maybe they can cut him off at one of these intersections and just kind of slam up against that back bumper. But, you know, the pit maneuver, while it's been authorized, is really not even a factor at this point, and really neither is a spike strip. Now he's underneath the 110 freeway. Looks like he might be on Slauson there, going to come out the other side. Is he going to come out the other side, or will he keep going? There, no. He did not come out. He did not come out. No.
Rush Limbaugh finally died.
Did he foot bail? Did he foot bail? That's the question.
Oh, shit. Did we get a foot bail?
It has not come out. Confirmation, this car has not come out. At least not yet.
Ooh. Do you want to go on foot? You're in a fucking Challenger. You've been
making their way under the freeway. At least they're in the area here. The vehicle may have been dumped under the freeway. I saw somebody flying out the other side, but that may have been a different vehicle. He may very well still be underneath the freeway, guys. If he is, he's gotten into another vehicle. I'm hearing he's gotten into another vehicle. Okay, let's pan over to the right, and let's see which way he goes. Let's see which way he goes. He may have carjacked another car, guys. He's apparently gotten into a truck under the freeway. Trying to listen in here and eavesdrop on LAPD, but right now, westbound, he's going westbound under in a red Charger. He's gotten into from a Challenger to a red Charger.
To a Charger?
A gray and black Challenger. He's dumped the vehicle and is apparently, according to LAPD, in a red Charger.
Oh no!
You see somebody running. Go ahead and push in there. Push in there. Let's see what we can make out here. Unfortunately, we can't get much closer. These are pedestrians. I don't think... those are cops. They are cops, and they are running back towards their vehicles under the freeway. He may be stuck in traffic as he tries to...
This is a Dodge hat.
Stand by. Hoover and Slauson. Hoover and Slauson. He was just spotted at Hoover and Slauson. They're trying to make their way over there.
Oh, this is amazing. I love this. What's the odds you run into like another Dodge under the underpass? And is that a maneuver you think about ahead of time? Like, I'm going to go under the underpass up here.
Behind us, over here. Over, right out my left window, guys. Right out my left window. There he is. There he is. They're focusing on that red car right there. And we'll go ahead and confirm the make and model of that vehicle here in just a second. But they are focusing on that red car right there. That looks like a Chrysler. It's a Chrysler 300, not a Dodge Charger. It's a Chrysler 300 that they are now after. You can see the night sun from LAPD up above. Those units that you saw back there at the 110 were trying to get back to their vehicles and now kind of weave their way down here. We'll see what the driving is like here, but right now he is going about the speed limit on Hoover Street with all eyes on him. We'll see if this is indeed him. They have good information to believe that
they're shining a spotlight on him.
The driving here, this just seems almost too composed.
The ads have come to life. Yeah, too composed.
He could be. Very possible. Well,
trying to blend in though.
Here comes LAPD. Here comes LAPD. They've got their eyes on him. They've got their light on him, and we'll see if this is indeed that suspect. He may be trying to blend in here, but they have found him, and we'll see if it is indeed the suspect. The LAPD now pulling up from the left and the right. Officers out of their vehicles with their guns drawn.
That's uneventful if it is him.
Driver cooperating. Stepping out of the vehicle.
This can't be him, right?
Vernon, the intersection of Hoover and Vernon. This driver looks oblivious, but again, it very well could be. You're saying a passenger in the passenger seat. So we will see. They will first order him out of the vehicle and then the passenger. Whether that's a willing passenger or whether that, I doubt it. I mean, I would have, presumably, if this was indeed a carjacked vehicle, would be, well, well, anything's possible. There could have been numerous people that got out of the Charger and then jumped in this car, always a possibility, or this could have been a passenger who was under duress along for the ride here, if this is even the vehicle, but they certainly believe it is. And you can see everybody
but cops are incompetent
on this Chrysler 300 that has come to a stop here. The driver proned out on the pavement. The next step will be taking that passenger out, and then they're going to have a lot to sort out here to figure out whether these are the two suspects they're looking for or what the story is here. But something is not adding up. We'll see.
No, it's
Maybe
not.
It'll be the two guys, but right now that passenger walking backwards in the direction of LAPD. A lot of confusion back there, as you can tell. Once you get under some of these big overpasses, it's a perfect opportunity for many of these pursuit drivers to pull a fast one, do a switcheroo, try and carjack somebody else.
The car was not driving like the Challenger we saw.
Or this could be a case of mistaken identity.
I think it's
Always
mistaken.
a possibility as well. Something seems a little off here. They seem to be cooperating for the most part here. The driving was very slow as he made his way down Hoover, but certainly that could all be part of the act here to try and blend in and try and lose the tail of LAPD. In any event, it hasn't worked if it is them, and now you can see two people about to be placed under arrest.
Well, there's more to this. This is probably the wrong people.
We did not have a number of passengers in that vehicle, so for all we know, there may have been more than one. It was just too difficult. Those windows on that Challenger were very heavily tinted. Never really got a good glimpse inside the car.
Because, like, they said they were looking for a Charger.
Not match the vehicle. It's
It ended up being a
presumably how this
300.
pursuit started in the first place with one of those license plate readers. But you can see now two people about to be detained.
Now they got two guys
Again,
spread eagle on the
see
fucking
if they look
pavement.
or if maybe the driver jumped out and took somebody else hostage in that.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
In that red car. We'll see. We'll see how they sort this out here. But right now, they are pretty convinced that these are the two, or this is at least the vehicle that they are focused on.
Oh no, I don't think it is. I think they got the wrong people. These fucking dumbass cops. We got all kinds of commands, Venus. God, I can't keep up with you guys. They're just putting their guns on.
This could be a buddy's car, or it
innocent
could be that they
motherfuckers.
carjacked somebody, a perfect stranger, underneath that overpass. At one point, there was a report that he was trying to carjack a truck, which leads me to believe that maybe he foot bailed under the overpass and then just started to try and find an unlocked door to try and carjack. But it may be that you're right. It could be that this was a little more coordinated than we give him credit for, and this could very well be the buddy's car. In any event, they are treating both of them as suspects at this point until they can sort the rest out. But they don't really have their attention anywhere else. So if this isn't the two guys, or if this is not the vehicle in question, then the actual bad guy is long gone by now. But they certainly appear pretty convinced that this is the driver of that Charger, at least the driver, and whether the passenger came along with him, well, we'll find that out later. No, I mean, as far as we could tell, there were no collisions, and it really is a miracle, because for close to a half hour, he was driving at extreme speeds.
I've got no update for you.
South LA. This all was initiated by
Other than they arrested the people in the car. I don't know what they were charged with. Got no update for you. In LA, the news happens There was a chase the next day, so like no bother of like telling us what happened with this one. I'd like a follow-up. I'd like to know who these motherfuckers were, what they were running for. You're telling me they coordinated under the underpass? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Something's not adding up. Go to my well of animal videos over here. I was like, I'm just gonna do a video. It says video. Had to click through and go to Newsweek. Oh, bobcat caught on camera lurking outside family home. Check out this bobcat. Oh, it's pretty. I bet it's looking for a snack, isn't it? Looking for a puppy, a little kitty, a bird. I'd try to pet it. Totally try to pet it. It's not quite a bobbed tail, but it is like a stubby tail. Yeah, it says it's a bobcat. Texas homeowner got the fright of her life when a bobcat decided to pay a visit. In footage captured on a Ring security camera, the wild animal can be seen perched on a fence. I'd boop that Snoop too. On a fence outside her property and surveying the area. The clip was filmed outside the residence in Frisco, Texas. The bobcat's unexpected appearance left the homeowner hesitant to leave the property. I was terrified to go outside and didn't leave my house that day, she said, according to a Ring press release. I wasn't sure if there were multiple bobcats or just one. The first day, there was just one. The next day, the bobcat returned, only this time it brought a friend. The homeowner said the two bobcats ended up staying in the yard outside her house for a few days. Since then, she has not seen hide nor hair of either animal, leading her to believe they have moved on. It's rare for people to see a bobcat this close up in a residential area. The Humane Society of the United States said the animal is so elusive that you'd be lucky to catch a glimpse of one in your lifetime. Not much bigger than a large house cat, bobcats don't pose a public safety threat, but may show up in suburban areas as they lose natural habitat. Bobcats live in almost every region of the continental U.S. For those eager to avoid encountering these animals, NSYNC Exotics, a big cat sanctuary, told Fort Worth, Texas TV station ckers that homeowners should keep pet food inside and secure any trash. As a further step, they suggest leaving a talk radio station on or setting up motion sensor sprinklers to ward off animals. That's a good idea. Sprinklers. Most cats don't like water. Bobcat Maynard would be like, ooh, I love this sprinkler. You definitely want to protect yourself from bobcats if you have especially a small animal. If you got a small little dog. Motherfucker, come eat it up. But it is very cute. I would totally try to pet it. I'd die trying to pet a bobcat. Bobcat kill you? It sure as fuck will on Red Dead. A big dog could probably fight it off. It probably isn't going to even come for a big dog. Probably going to be scared of a big dog. I feel like it hasn't ate in a while. It's kind of scrawny looking. If you're watching on Twitch, you're going to head over and say hey to producer Dave. It is the intellectual Dollar Tree. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. It could be young, it could be a little scrawny because it gets a lot of exercise. This is the intellectual Dollar Tree. I would totally feed the kitty.